Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at something that I actually cannot believe that someone did at this house, and we're going to be fixing it to bring this up to code, make this safer for us, and just a little bit easier for life. Let me show you what was done here and the damage that it has caused. All right, this is inside of our 2-car garage. This door goes into a little utility room, and there's a washer and dryer inside there. And right here, inside the garage, is the dryer vent. This has been like this for I do not know how long. It looks like forever. This actually is a hot and cold water supply for like an outdoor utility sink in the garage here or something else. You see all this lint in here. This is blowing linty, humid, wet air into the garage. You can see some of the remnants of this damage in here, but it has caused, when we moved into this house, these walls had to all be treated because there was mold growing in here everywhere. All these walls were covered with mold, and it had been treated by a mold prevention company that had come in and bleached everything basically, and then it was all repainted. So what we have to do is we have to keep this garage door open all the time. Whenever the dryer is running, the garage door has to be open, and if you forget, well, it fills up the whole place with, especially in the wintertime, very humid air, and then it gets condensation all over the walls. And then because it's open, all the bugs and all the leaves and all the dirt is always blowing in here. It's a mess. There's no other place. It's kind of inside the house, the crawl space. There's no other place to put the dryer vent, which is why they ran it in here. So what we're gonna have to do to correct this is we're gonna have to move this stair. We're gonna have to take the dryer vent, move it over into this corner, and run it all the way along this wall and out the end of the garage there. So that's the plan for today. That also means we're gonna have to insulate that, because you cannot run a dryer vent through an unconditioned space without it being insulated. That hot, moist air will run through a cold metal pipe. It'll condensate on the inside, and all the water will end up inside that pipe, which rusts it out. It collects the lint, and it can become very dangerous. So we're gonna need to insulate it and maybe box it in where I plan to build shelves over this. So this could be quite a project. First step is we're gonna get the area cleaned up a little bit, see what we've got, and get some holes cut. I didn't realize this this was hollow. Quite a mouse population. I'm sure they found ways to get in the house through here. So, well, that'll solve maybe another problem. So whenever I cut holes in the side of a house, I have a long bit I call a pilot bit. It's what we used to use in heating and cooling. And that way, if you're in the wrong spot, you have a very small hole to patch or fill. And so this is gonna make a pilot hole. I want my 4-inch hole to be as close to this corner as possible. I'm probably gonna have to cut into this little piece of wood here. I think this is the sill plate. So there's a piece of treated wood that runs right along here. And I'm gonna try to get just above that, and I'm gonna try to get right in this corner. So I'm gonna run this pilot bit right in the corner, and then that'll give me a reference of how tight I can go into this spot here. This is our crawl space access. And there's our drill bit. But I've got plenty of space in all directions except for down. So that's the bottom of my hole. And I will tuck it into that corner as tight as possible. Okay, we have our exhaust hood installed on the outside, and I'm going to get another 90 to put in here, or 45 of these. You can buy these flexible pipes. So this is an 8-foot 4-inch section. This, you have to use metal pipe of some sort. This is aluminum. This is galvanized steel. Aluminum is better because it does not rust. Galvanized is not better, but it is a little bit cheaper to go this way, and I like the very rigid. The aluminum stuff is just super thin. This is nice and tough. You want to use foil tape. When we put these pieces of pipe together, you do not use screws in a dryer vent because it will collect a lint. And so you want to use this foil tape. This stuff is super expensive. It's like 20 bucks a roll or more. You can use duct tape on it, but duct tape will, the adhesive does not last as long. When it's hot, it will start to fall apart. This 4-inch rigid pipe is real hard to get snapped together. I got to work on some of these seams a little bit. You can see this is not snapped all the way together. It's supposed to look like this. This I'm going to use inside for a flexible connection instead of using a bunch of rigid 90s and all that stuff. You might be asking why I used a white hood. Well, I just happen to have an extra one. I bought 2 of them earlier this year, and so I had this. So I'm going to actually paint that. I have the paint that matches the siding. So I caulked all that up really good, and then I'll just paint over all that. So I had an extra 25-foot section of this 4-inch flexible duct from our last house. It's been sitting in the garage. Now, a lot of people might be tempted to use this stuff to vent the dryer, but this is not good. This actually is a fire hazard. This can melt, and you got all these ridges inside here. It's gonna collect lint. So what I am gonna do though is I'll use the insulation. I'm gonna pull this tubing out, and then I'll use the insulated flex to put around my rigid pipe. So this whole section out here is going to be all insulated. Well, the outside part is done, and now we're gonna connect the inside. So here's my pipe going out to the garage. Over here is my dryer vent. I'm probably gonna disconnect it right here. Look at that, they screwed it together. So I bet you this is clogged full of lint. Surprisingly, those screws didn't catch as much lint as I would have thought, but you can see they are covered. The hole's temporarily covered. We're gonna patch that in a little while. All of the dryer vent hooked up and finished and tested, and it works great. Well, we need to rebuild our stairs. I always save scrap wood. So I have a ton of pieces of scrap wood and old dirty wood. Since this is all gonna be covered, I'll use as much of that as possible. I have a few new 2x4s if I need to start my shelf to kind of tie things together here. And I have a bunch of these stair treads that I cut-offs of stair treads that I used up at our cabin for the to redo the stairs up there. Whenever I'm doing a lot of wood cutting and things in the shop, I have not been good to my lungs over the years. So recently I'm trying to improve that, and I hate those cheap dust masks. They just don't work. All the stuff just ends up going right around my nose and into my mouth anyway. So I have these base camp dust masks that I'll be using today, and while I'm doing all my cuts in the shop. And these things are super comfortable. They come with these little insertable nose supports. These are replaceable. You can actually, these are just adhesive in here, and then you can get replacement inserts for all this as well. So it's a nice reusable, long-lasting dust mask. did not like piecing the stair treads together here with the seams in there and the flex. This is going to get the majority of the beating of people stepping on it coming in and out of the door. I found this piece of, it's actually a 1-inch piece of particle board, which is not great for for anything. I hate particle board because, as you can see, it got wet in the past down here at the end. But this was an old shelf or something, scrap piece that I found around here. This is real nice and solid, and I'm gonna paint this. So I'm gonna use this instead of the stair tread. I've got, I know this is a little bit overbuilt, but I want this to be real nice and sound. I'm also going to get some of that spray foam, a couple cans of it, and I'm gonna fill these areas in. I don't want any voids. I don't want mice to be able to get in and make nests anywhere. I had a bunch of scrap pieces of 1/4-inch sheet stock. I've got melamine. I had some old paneling from the renovation of the cabin. This 1/4-inch, so I'm using the back side of that to just kind of patch up all these places. More of this paneling that'll go underneath here. I'm using the stair treads over here. There's not gonna be a lot of people stepping on this. So these will fit right in there. I also had some extra foam around that I put underneath all the way along this. So there's a little piece of foam under there just to keep it off the cement. Well, phase 1 of this project is done. We've got the stair rebuilt and a little bit of the box here. I did repaint the door, but I'm gonna have to repaint all these walls, so more to do there. The hole's patched, but I'm gonna do some drywall work there later. I'm also gonna remove those valves and put a utility sink there. And then I've got the shelves to build here. A little bit of drywall work to do. So a little odds and ends to do, but I did put a second coat on the hood, so it looks nice. No more leaving the garage door open. We've lived here for 5 years. We have dealt with this stupid dryer vent for 5 years. All winter, leaving this door open. Every summer, when it's raining, the door's always open. Water's getting in here. What a mess. I cannot believe they just left it this way. And I can't believe I've left it this way for this long. So finally fixed. Let me know what you guys think. Have you seen any crazy dryer vent installations? Have people done silly things in your house when you moved in that you had to fix? Let me know down in the comments what you think and share your stories and your experiences down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thumbs up on today's video. Subscribe if it's your first time here. I'd love to have you tag along. We'll see you next time.